Welcome to Around Town, the show that provides information on North Andover and the surrounding towns in the Merrimack Valley. Today's show we have three gentlemen, Julian, Connor, and Sean. These gentlemen are called what they call a gap year. They graduated in a gap year. Julian, can you explain to our audience what a gap year is?
Well, a gap year is essentially when you take a year off after, it could be any point in time during your education, but you take a break at some point to travel or to work or to volunteer or do something along those lines. And so the three of us all traveled, Connor and I together and Sean in a different manner.
Okay. Where did you and Connor go? I mean, I heard you went to a lot of states, different national parks.
Mm-hmm. We ended up going to all of the national parks in the lower 48 states, accessible by car.
That's pretty interesting, really.
Yeah.
Sean, I heard you were an exchange student in Hungary.
I lived in Hungary for 10 months this past year. Just got back like a month and a half ago. While living there, I was able to travel all around Europe.
Really? And you saw some interesting things, too.
Yep,
We'll hear about that real soon. Yeah.
I traveled to 14 countries.
14 countries.
Yeah.
You must have seen a lot out there.
We just
I
got
did.
one.
And you stayed with different people?
I stayed with one host family.
One
the whole
host
year.
family for the 10 months?
Yep.
That must be interesting. You must have got really close to these people.
I did.
And met some different people.
Yep, they were amazing.
And you lucked out, right? That you got one host
Yeah,
family?
it changes from, it's through Rotary, so usually they like to have two or three host families throughout the year. It differs from Rotary Club to Rotary Club,
Right.
but I ended up staying with the whole family. all
Excellent.
year.
You felt real
Nice.
comfortable with them, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Connor.
Yeah.
Now, you and
Julian.
stayed tenting areas, right? Is that what you did? You tented out and you out in the open?
Yeah, so about 90% of the time we were either hammocking or sleeping in a tent in the woods somewhere. The other 10% of the time we were either volunteering at different various places across the country or staying with people that we either met along the way or friends and family that we knew.
Wow, that was pretty good. Pretty good.
Those
Now,
were our breaks.
really, huh?
Yeah, when we got to shower and
Oh,
cook
yeah.
on an oven and a
Do
stove.
laundry.
That was
Really,
nice.
I just keep up with everything else.
Yeah.
Yep. And how about the weather? Weather-wise, did you run into some severe weather, or?
We had a couple of hiking experiences that were unfavorable. We were in Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park in the Sierra Nevada range in California. And we were doing a backpacking trip that was a 6-mile hike to the campsite, and we hiked about 4 miles and got up to about 9,500 feet above sea level.
Wow.
And we knew that there was some rain forecasted, but the rain was forecasted for 6,000 feet, and we were 3,500 feet above that, so we ended up getting hail and thunderstorms.
Wow.
And we had to hike back down the mountain that we had climbed up and sleep in the car that night because the weather was too bad.
It was too bad to sleep in a
going.
tent. You
Yeah.
get blown away.
Yeah, we got lost a couple of times on the way back to the car as well, so
good.
that was a little bit frightening.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
That must have been really good. I mean, going through all these national parks, you must have seen a lot of stuff, a lot of different, like animals, creatures.
Yeah.
Did you come across anything interesting?
It was really fun to go. Most of the national parks have visitor centers, which you can go to, and then you can watch the park film and go through a bunch of different exhibits and learn about what the difference between a mountain lion and a cougar is. There isn't any, right? Okay. And then you can learn which plants Native Americans used when they lived in the area, and you can learn which animals you have to be worried about and which ones you might be able to see, like the California condor or grizzly bears in Yellowstone and stuff like that.
Wow, what a learning experience that
Yep.
must have been, really.
Yep.
After graduating from high school, seeing the country like that, I wish I would have done that when I was your age.
Yeah.
Sean, okay, we're going to get to Hungary for a minute here, all right?
All right.
What was the purpose of you going to Hungary?
It was the mentality behind the gap year. After high school, my parents and my philosophy has been like, you got to get off the treadmill of the education system,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it really did benefit me a lot. And just taking that year to kind of reinvigorate yourself for learning
Yeah.
and everything. So I chose to go across seas to do that, overseas to do that.
I was just going to ask you that. What made you pick Hungary? Yeah.
I wanted to experience Central/Eastern Europe. I had been to South America before, so I had experienced that, and I wanted to get a different like cultural taste.
That's an interesting culture, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, and so especially so relatively soon after in the wake of the fall of communism. There's still.
Right.
I was interested in seeing what that was like.
Excellent. What else did you do out there? I heard that you did something with a mummy.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yes.
That's what I heard.
So I was mainly a student at high school while I was there, but because I was in Europe, it just so happened I got this opportunity through my uncle, who's the head of a medical/scientific research team, and it's called the Horus Group, and they've been looking at atherosclerosis as the disease, and it's the leading cause of death in the Western world.
Wow.
It's heart disease, and they've been looking at it in a unique way through mummies and seeing whether this disease was prevalent way in ancient times, and they found that they found the same disease that we're finding today back then.
Wow.
And they're doing that by CT scanning them.
Huh.
So they're able to do all of this non-invasively. And because I have a background in film, my interest, and that's what I'm going to be studying in college, my uncle invited me to be the videographer for the week. And so I documented the whole process from start to finish, and I produced a piece for them, and it's still quarantined because they are still publishing their results, but when it gets published, that piece will get released to the public as well.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
I heard that you went back to school there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you graduated here.
I graduated
and you went
high
back to school there.
I graduated high school, and I went over and did another year of high school. Yeah.
Wow. How was that?
It was very interesting. I wasn't able to participate fully just because the level of the language was way too high to jump in, but it provided great social structure, and it really, really helped my language development.
Excellent. That's really, really interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's
Connor,
me.
what did you get out of this this trip that you guys took?
I got a sense of my place in the world and a whole lot of confidence.
That's excellent, really. Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, a lot of confidence. I mean, it's not easy going from state to state, national park to national park. You're being a stranger, they've never been, not knowing anybody there, and just getting along with each other for one thing for that minute. How long did you guys go for?
We went for 3 months on the East Coast, driving up to Acadia, then all the way down to Florida, then back up, and then in February we left straight to Texas for 4.5 months, making our way west. Yeah, if you want to show the map, we have a map of the route that we have.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so we went out to California.
Whoa. Yeah, hold that up, show them.
So we started
Wow.
up in Massachusetts, and the first leg drew this sort of shape. It went all the way down and then out to Arkansas and then back up this way. So we made sort of a triangle thing over here.
Really?
And then we were back for the holidays. That was part of our parents' stipulation. We kind of thought that we were going to be jumping into it, but it was a smart move for us to come back
Really?
and regroup, clean,
Right, right.
and get to see everybody again. And
I had to work to get money as well to fund this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my questions. How did you fund it? Go ahead. Yep.
So then after the holidays, we left again, and we drew a straight line out to Texas and came up, and you're going to have to trace the route.
That was a long drive from there.
Yeah,
to
that
there.
was-
That was like a 17-hour drive.
We drove to D.C. the first day, and that was a couple of hours. But then from D.C., we drove to Mississippi,
Whoa.
and that was 17 hours of driving, I think.
Yeah.
That was the longest stretch of continuous driving we'd ever done, and it was exhausting.
Unbelievable. That's incredible.
Yeah.
How much did this cost to do this? Approximately.
Somewhere around 7,000.
Yeah,
I
$6,500,
think.
$7,000.
To see all that.
Yeah.
That's really unbelievable.
And
Really.
that's gas, food, lodging.
Really.
That's everything. and we're proud of ourselves because
Yeah.
we paid for it ourselves.
That's great. That's really great. Young men like you just graduating from
Self-
high school. What a
self-funded.
big responsibility.
Yeah,
Big
it's a
responsibility.
lot.
Would you do it again?
Definitely.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
And would you do it again?
1000%.
Would you go someplace different, or would you go back to Hungary? Do you think you'd like to go
Because-
someplace else?
I would probably go someplace else, but for the new experience. But I would go back to Hungary in a heartbeat, and I actually want to move back there because of the people I met, and it's just such a beautiful country, and I made lifelong friendships there. So
That is great. That's
It-
excellent.
my sense of adventure versus like the friends and connections I made. So, but I would still, I don't know.
Really.
It's tough.
That's
Really, yep. It's really nice meeting new people, and
Yeah.
especially different cultures too. Now you must have seen a lot too. You must have met some people, you guys, right?
We were, I mean, so Sean did a full immersion into a different culture, into a different language.
Right.
And we didn't really get the same immersion into a different country, a different language, and have that same sort of element of unknown. But
Right.
at the same time, we were in a new place every single week.
Right.
And
right.
so we got to see, I guess we got to drive through a lot of different parts of America.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were parts where we would be driving in like southern Tennessee, and we would just say, wow, this is a really impoverished area.
Oh yeah.
But then our destination would be to a tourist town and a national park.
Right.
And it was an interesting kind of clash between the two, and how you can get really rural areas and parts of it can be preserved like national wilderness, and other parts of it
Right.
can be a really impoverished.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It really, really is. So now, next time you do this, you go different places, like the place that you didn't hit, or
Yeah, I think I definitely want to go to Alaska because they have like 9 national parks up there that we didn't get to hit.
It's hard to drive to Alaska.
nice.
But
How many national parks did you hit altogether?
44-ish.
44 with the national park title, but we
Yeah.
went to like a lot of national like recreation area, forests and everything.
Monuments.
And of course,
Lake
they were all
shores.
different. They were all different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I saw some of the pictures you guys took. They're incredible pictures. And they're showing some right now. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, the scenery.
Yeah.
I mean, the mountains, the water, the color of the water.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
We've got some beautiful stuff in America.
You guys are very, very lucky that you did that. Yeah, that you could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you a lot of young gentlemen like you wish they could do something like that, or they're kicking themselves that they didn't do something like that before going to college.
There were very
like you
few
too,
people.
Sean. I mean,
yeah,
seeing
that's
a whole different culture altogether. It's,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I wish I would have done something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what I've been looking at recently. Like, once you get past college, you're onto a job, and
You become an
you're-
adult, and
yeah.
life's
So
a
this
lot
is really the
different.
time to do it, and I'm so glad I did.
You guys really did.
Yeah.
I mean, you were smart by doing that. What came about this? What made you think of doing this? I mean, after high school, after graduating.
Well, my mom technically planted the seed in my head of taking a year off when I was in like 7th grade.
Really?
I had poor math grades, and my mom said, "You're gonna need a break from school, I can tell." And when I was in 7th grade, I just thought, sounds pretty good. I don't have to go to school, right? And then I went through the rest of high school and junior, senior year, when the whole college application process starts happening, and you start realizing that the next step in your life is like independence and school and then job.
Right.
It kind of seems like this exponential, just all of a sudden life takes off.
Right, yeah.
And I wasn't ready for that yet. And
Really, yeah.
So I started thinking about it more and looking into travel abroad programs. There are programs that you can pay a lot of money to go sailing for a year, or you could do some AmeriCorps thing and volunteer as a firefighter, or there's a bunch of really great opportunities.
Right.
And I was looking into that, and then I think I was talking to Connor about looking into that, and he was like, this sounds really good. And so once senior year came around, we started planning, and we just spent a bunch of time in his dad's office at their house, planning and setting out a general route and mapping where all the parks are,
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out if we could volunteer at places and trying to get in touch with family members ahead of time to
Right.
see if they would be home when we would be there.
Right.
And we wanted to keep the schedule relatively accurate so that we could give people ETAs and stuff,
Uh-huh.
but we also wanted to keep it very flexible because we knew that some of these places were going to totally surprise us.
Really?
And we would arrive somewhere
I'm sure it did
and
too.
schedule 2 days there and want to spend 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we wanted to give it that flexibility. And that was a really nice plus of planning our own gap year instead of doing something like an AmeriCorps volunteer or a Rotary Exchange. Not
Really?
that there's anything wrong with that.
Really.
Yeah.
Connor, how long did it take you to map this out? I mean, to plan it before you left?
It actually didn't take as long as I thought it was going to, because like we started the idea of the gap year kind of like as a sarcastic joke.
Uh-huh,
And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, sure, we'll take a year
gap
off.
year.
Yeah.
But then eventually we started buckling down, and we brought the idea to our parents, and they were like, well, as long as you have a plan,
Right.
then we'll like consider it. We won't just throw out the idea.
Did you have that whole plan scheduled before? Or did you, as you were on the trip, did you plan more as you were on there?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
We had to give our parents an idea of like we know what we're doing.
Right.
We have looked at what we have for money,
Right.
and we can make this happen. But then we really didn't plan anything specific until we arrived in an
Right.
area, which was sometimes an issue for us,
Yeah.
finding campsites
Right,
last minute
right,
and
yeah.
arriving at places at 11 o'clock with no idea where we were going to sleep.
Really?
But then other times that was awesome because it didn't tie us down and we could just go up to a park ranger and say, what should we do here? And they would give us great ideas or plan an entire backpacking trip for us.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And,
it really
yeah.
is.
We only reserved a campground like one time. That was in the Grand Canyon
Yep.
because they only do reservation campground, and
Right.
that was kind of a bother to schedule that.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a pain.
Really, I can imagine. So the other camping that you did was just in the woods, I mean, and that was it? Not a campground, I mean, it's just, you winged it, in other words.
Yeah, sometimes we'd stay at BLM land, which
Uh-huh.
is free campground. You just
Uh-huh.
kind of drive into somewhere,
Yeah.
pitch a tent.
Bureau of Land Management,
Yeah.
for clarification.
Oh, all right. Thank you for that.
Sometimes we'd find like we have this website on our phone that's freecampsites.net, and we just go on there try and find a free campsite for the night.
Yeah.
And if we couldn't find one, we'd go to a paying campsite, but we'd prefer not to spend money.
Yeah, we were cheap.
Did you guys bring a tablet with you or anything, too?
We had my laptop
Okay.
because we were keeping a blog,
Right.
and we updated the blog with
Yep.
a bunch of pictures,
Yeah.
partially to keep our family posted and partially just so that we would have something to look back on.
Nice.
And then we had our phones, and that was pretty much it.
That's excellent. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Sean, what else did you do in Hungary? And again, I know what you did with the mummies, but what else did you learn there, in other words?
I learned a lot of unwritten things, just like learning about a culture and the language, which I already kind of glazed over. But yeah, just learning about how the other half of the world works, kind of.
Really?
And yeah, and I got to travel a lot as well, as I mentioned, to 14 countries. That's in Vienna.
Wow,
And,
that's a good picture.
Yeah, I went all over.
Those are some new people that you met.
Yeah, these are other exchange students. There were 42 other exchange students living in Hungary and through Rotary. And they became some of my best friends, like, for life.
Wow, that's
So,
really, really.
just
What's
in-
that building behind you there? What
That's
is?
Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. It was the summer residence of the Habsburg Empire. Habsburg, yeah.
Wow.
So that wasn't even the main headquarters, but yeah.
Look at that. That's amazing. So you ended up learning a lot then.
I did.
learned a lot.
And through my travels, one thing that really happened this year was my sense to learn, my urge to learn really like revamped. After senior year, I was kind of academically saturated, as
Really,
I was
huh?
calling it. But this year, not having like the really, really hard deadlines that come with high school in America, I was able to like appreciate learning again. So like
Yeah.
every place I
That's
would
pretty
go
good.
to, I would try to learn as much as possible. We had some guided tours in some of the cities we went to, and I would just try to get as much information as possible. wherever
Right,
we went.
right. What's this picture here now?
That's in front of the Eiffel
Oh,
Tower.
Look at that.
It's a little bit warped. I can assure you the Eiffel Tower is not bent like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are just in that picture. There's students from South Africa, Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina.
Hey, you met a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah,
And you remember them too. It's like, wow.
absolutely.
I could never
Wow.
do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Now, did you guys, all you guys, did you plan this while you were in your senior year, knowing that you were going to do this when you graduated, or just come after graduation that you thought of it?
I mean, for me, this was on the dock for a while. Like my parents had also pushed this from like a fairly young age. So I had a plan that I was going to do a gap year, and probably about junior year I knew I would do it through Rotary. But I didn't know where I would be going or my family until like after I had graduated.
Right.
But I had started the application process simultaneously with college applications. So,
right.
yeah.
Excuse me. Explain to us. I love this jacket you have on.
Oh, yeah.
What are all these buttons you have on there?
This is the official Rotary Youth Exchange blazer. We all get one at the beginning of the year, and when you go on exchange, you exchange pins with all of the other exchange students you meet along the way. So I have pins from all the exchange students I met, as well as pins from all the places I went to.
That's amazing. How many pins are on that jacket? You know?
I have no clue.
You mean you never counted them? Come
No,
on.
I did not.
Let's start counting them now.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
I'll do that. I'll do that while you.
I'm just kidding. But
I would-
that's really, really nice. I like that.
It's definitely a good memento.
Oh, sure is. I mean, you got everything there. And you can look at each one of them, and I bet you, and just tell a story about each one of them.
I could.
That's
I could
amazing.
probably.
That really is. But we don't have enough time for that.
No.
But that's a really interesting jacket. I like it.
Thank you.
Now, when did you guys think about going on your trip? Was it during high school or after high school?
It was near the end of our senior year, like
Yeah.
February, like preparing for graduation.
Right.
We actually applied to college before we decided to go on the gap year,
Yep.
and we had
Yep.
deferred our admissions. So
Really?
we just sent them an email
This is
saying,
super
"Can we
easy
come
process.
next year?"
And
And they're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And all the
Really?
scholarships and everything carried over.
It all transferred over.
They're understanding about that.
Because they
want-
realize they're getting a more mature student, more traveled, more learned student.
Right.
more-
Yeah, that would make sense. Sure.
It's a very popular option for like Ivy League schools.
Right,
A
yep.
bunch of Harvard undergrad students took a year off beforehand or a year off in between their years at Harvard
Right.
to do something that is an experience that you can't get in a classroom or at a college, like
Excellent.
traveling to Hungary
Really?
or seeing all the national parks.
Yeah, really. Now, you applied to a college. You're going to be going to college now?
Yep.
And where are you going?
I'm going to the University of Vermont.
Good for you.
And part of the reason that I took a gap year was because I did not know what I wanted to do in college, and
Uh-huh.
I was a year younger than most of my peers. So at 17, colleges were asking, what do you want to major in? What do you want to potentially decide to do for the rest of your life? And I said, I'm 17.
Really?
I'm not ready.
That's right,
And
yeah.
so I got scared off a little bit, and that's part of the reason that I deferred. And to this day, I'm still going into UVM undeclared, undecided in the broadest college that they have,
That's fine.
just to try to find,
Yep.
try to figure out what
You'll find
my
out what
thing
you want
is.
to do, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no rush. You'll find out. Connor, where are you going?
I'm going to SUNY ESF, which
What?
is a state university for New York for
Oh.
environmental science and forestry. It's a very small school, about 1,500 people. It's right across the street from Syracuse University.
Wow, that's interesting. Excellent. And Sean?
I'm his neighbor. I'm going to Ithaca.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, and I'm going for film production.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Wow, you're going to be some kind of a director or something pretty
We'll
soon.
see.
And I can say I know you. Look at that. I interviewed you on my show. I think that's great. That's fantastic. Okay, you guys have a blog, I heard, right?
Yep.
And what is the blog? I mean, how do people get to the blog?
It's got an interesting name. I don't know if I...
Let's do our business cards. Here we go.
We got
you have
business
them?
cards.
Yeah, you got
And we got
Professional.
car magnets for to put on the side of the car so that people who parked next to us in parking lots would know what we were doing.
So you put this on the cars,
Yep,
right?
Yeah.
Yep. Bigger than that, but
Yeah.
Can we get this on here? Somewhere? Over there?
No.
Okay. That is pretty interesting. That
But-
really, really is. What a good idea to do something like that, too.
Our blog has an interesting name, which we have to give a little. We have to let people know that we're not trying to con them.
Right.
Because our blog name is Jules the Con Man.
So that's where they can get it,
dot
right?
Tumblr.com. Yep. And I think the first couple of people I was applying to a job or emailing my college or something, and I said, I'm taking a really cool gap year. Check out the blog, julestheconman.com. And my mom read the email before I sent it, and she said, hold on. People might think it's just Julian the Con Man, and that's not something they will encourage in a gap year. So it's my nickname, Jules, and the first three letters of Con. I've never called him Con.
Yeah.
But
That was a good idea.
He came up with it, and we went with it.
Sure. And you have a lot of your pictures are on this blog, right? If people
Yeah.
want to see pictures,
Yeah.
they can just go to the blog and, like this one here that's behind us now, if we're showing it now. What is that a picture of?
The Grand Tetons National Park in Wyoming. One of my favorite national parks.
He's in love
Really,
with it.
huh?
Yeah.
What was your favorite national park?
That I can never give anybody one answer.
Really,
I'm,
huh?
I'm stuck between like 4 or 5 at least.
They were all that nice,
But
huh?
yeah,
I
when
can
when
imagine.
people ask that question, we have just said they're all national parks for a reason.
Right.
And they're all so beautiful, and give you incredible stuff to see.
Incredible pictures, incredible pictures.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. You got pictures on, you got pictures
Yeah,
too,
I have
right?
a blog too. It's a little bit more straightforward.
What
It's
is-
seanshungryblog.wordpress.com.
Oh, wow. And you can see a lot of your pictures
Yeah,
that you've taken
I
too.
updated it less frequently than them two, but yeah, I provided like summaries. I would fill in the
Yeah.
gaps
Yeah.
Right.
that I had
Right.
posted.
So you
Yeah.
guys would suggest this to younger gentlemen that are just graduating to try something like this because it's worth it?
Everybody,
Yeah.
and absolutely.
You think everybody should try this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think they should do something like when you're young like this, because when you become my age, and if you never did anything like that, you wish you could do it now. You know what I'm saying? But as you get older, you have responsibilities,
Yeah.
as you guys are going to know.
Yeah.
Growing up is not an easy thing. It's a lot going on, and you just can't just drop what you're doing and do what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I give you guys a lot of credit, really.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you guys, really, for coming on the show and for letting everybody know about your experience. And you have anything else you want to tell the audience?
Take a gap year.
Yeah, two gap years.
Yeah.
Take a gap
Yeah.
year.
Take a gap year, take a gap semester.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it
You can
doesn't
do
have to
half a
be-
year. You can volunteer. You could do Rotary Exchange. You could just get into a car.
That's great. That's great. Well, Julian, Connor, and Sean, I want to thank you very much for joining me on our show. And it sounded like a great time, and I wish I would have done it. Thank you so
very
much. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to join us again as we take another look around town.